take it away on this occasion. Ooh, man. See, you know, I'm a fair guy, all right? I'm a fair guy. I've been having to hear a lot of this Tua talk. All Tua does is throw touchdowns and win.
And you didn't even turn the ball over. That's the crazy part. You didn't turn the ball over when it mattered, and you lost the game. You won the turnover battle and lost the game. That's how pathetic it was.
Play zone. We're playing zone except everywhere where Travis Kelce is. We all know Travis Kelce is trying to get the football in the middle of the field.
You could be playing St. Mary's University, and as long as they have a 6 or a single-digit number in front of their name, then whoops, we're done.
Right.
Welcome to episode 113. How is everybody doing today? We have an action-packed one for y'all. Our first episode that we've previewed for, as y'all saw on our Instagram page today. We dropped our first ever preview of an episode for a chance to get y'all engaged and hop on to see when we're going to be shooting and what we're going to be talking about. So, of course, that went over well. And we got a bunch of fun stuff, new topics, new segments. Jay, you ready to rock and roll?
Sir, definitely ready to rock. I will say this, that was a pretty smooth spin you did to start us off here. As Glenn mentioned, of course, we have definitely previewed. Did not just get on the call this time and said, all right, you ready to go? Yep. We actually previewed. I can say, the people out there who love the stats, we are 100% less than 5% of our episodes we've ever shot and been previewed. We just know sports. We just got great chemistry. Right. We just got good chemistry. We know sports, so that just makes up for a lot. But excited to be on today. Before we get started, Glenn, like Glenn mentioned, we got an action-packed show. Baseball news. Obviously, you know, for all our hockey fans, hockey's coming up the mix. Basketball is right around the corner. Obviously, football is where it is today. But before we get started in any sports, we got to give a quick shout-out to our guy, our friend, our homie, Jalen Green. He has a clothing brand that you guys have seen in our previous episode. We were rocking the shirts, and we even mentioned it in our prior episode. Say Two clothing brand. We'll be partnering with Jaden, coming out with some merch for you guys. He also has some cool / great designs himself. So if you guys are in the market for any clothing, any type thing like long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, hoodies, Jaden's definitely the man to go to. We're working on getting you guys a code. So if you guys would like to get anything from him, definitely we're going to end up having a code. It's going to be in our description on Instagram whenever, you know, we end up coming out. But I mean, outside of that, he was a roommate of mine when we was in school. He worked endlessly on these designs. I'm talking up to like 4:35 in the morning. He still does it. He still to this day works extremely hard on his clothing. So guys, hey, showing us some love. We appreciate it. We would love for some of that love to be shown to him as well.
Couldn't say it better myself. Without a doubt, definitely deserves a checkout for sure. We've seen his site, and he's got some very, very, very good stuff. Puts the work into it. Very authentic. You know, he has a part in all the designs, so he really does a good job, and we're excited to be partnering up with him for sure.
Yes, sir. And one more thing I can say is that his material that he uses is definitely top tier. We had conversations about it before. He definitely doesn't want to get out. Obviously, you know, nobody wants to get out bad material. You don't want to damage your own name, but he definitely does work himself and make sure that he gets you guys great material. So if you're into someone who actually cares about their clothing and things of that nature, with that being coupled with great designs, Jaden is definitely the man to go. Say Two clothing. Like I said, check our previous episode. The beginning of it, we mentioned it. We'll definitely put the link in our bio on Instagram. But yeah, Say Two clothing, definitely the way to go for the clothes.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a very good time. But yeah, speaking of good time, we can dive into our first topic if you're ready.
Yes, sir. Well, as you mentioned, speaking of good times, however, for you, my friend, good times will come to an end momentarily. Starting in the MLB space, the NLCS super heated matchup. I'm talking Game 6. I'm talking Phillies. I'm talking Diamondbacks in Philly. Many people, a lot of people. I've seen a lot of fans. I seen a guy. I don't know his name, but he got a YouTube page where he does like 3 separate pages. He got Phillies, he got Sixers, and he got Eagles because he's obviously from Philly, of course. And he was hyped. He was like, "Oh yeah, this is 100%. We got this in the bag. Game 6 is a wrap. Diamondbacks don't even belong on the same field as us." But the Diamondbacks had something else to say. 5-1 victory in Philly, forcing a game 7. So Glenn, not only the resident baseball guy, this is your team, your Phillies. Tell me exactly what happened.
Very frustrating game for Phillies fans, of course. I'm going to keep the energy high so I don't go nuts completely, although no promises on that. Hard game to watch because the guys just did not look like they were trying to swing and try to make a statement and end the series. They were kind of just trying to hope that it fell into our hand. And the Diamondbacks are a pesky team, and I don't know who that guy is that said there's gonna be no piece of cake.
And that is obviously, again, game 7s is obviously, who really comes to play, who really wants it. I will say this, though, something that's not working in your favor. 56% of teams to force a game 7 in game 6 end up winning game 7. So basically 56% of the teams that win game 6 win game 7. So obviously that's not in your favor. But let's say again, all that's all good and dandy. Like I say again, we definitely going to have ears to the streets in that game. That game has the makings to obviously be a thriller. Love to see exactly what you guys do.
Whether or not we do one of the shows, and depending on how angry I'll be, we'll decide in the next episode. But,
right. No, yeah, 100%. I'm not even, I'll be surprised if we did one.
Wednesday's shows is either going to have Dancing on My Own or Juice WRLD. Only one of the two things that will be playing that.
For your sanity and for the show's sake, I definitely, we hope that you guys at least perform well. But, I know that game 7's obviously, again, is, you have 6 games prior to that. And end of the day is, all right, we've been battling back and forth. It's like the final boss whenever you're like fighting in like a fighting game or something. And it's like I've worked my way to get here. Now it's just the best man wins. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Outside of the baseball world, let's dive into the NFL world where we had once again another jam-packed week 7 of NFL football. But however, we're going to try and out since we're already in Philly, might as well keep it in Philly. The Philadelphia Eagles took on the Glenn's Tua Tagovailoa Miami Dolphins. And let's just say that one thing that's a good takeaway from this game is that finesse will always lose to physicality. Speaking of physicality, the Philadelphia Eagles 31, the Miami Dolphins 17. Glenn, what say you? What exactly did your team do to get that victory?
Well, it's weird. I didn't, even though Tua lost the game, and I was still happy because he was happened to be playing the Eagles. So it was a win-win situation for me in this case. And it worked out that the team that I have a lot more dedication and roots to got the job done in the Philadelphia Eagles. Performances on both sides were very admirable in the quarterback department. Tua going 23 of 32 for 216, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Not your typical Tua touchdown game, but an okay enough performance, just not enough to get the job done. Jalen Hurts, on the other hand, 23 of 31, so one throw better, and 279, 2 touchdowns and an interception. He also ran in for a touchdown as well, using his big target, his number 1 guy, A.J. Brown, for 10 receptions, 137 yards, and a touchdown. Breaking records again for, I think that's 4 or 5 straight games now, over 125 yards. So he
5 straight. He tied Megatron. He tied Calvin Johnson.
Anytime he can be on the list with the top 5 wide receiver all time, that's pretty impressive. Because, Megatron was a different breed of wide receiver. He was just insane. Literally machine-like in the Megatron name. But yeah, I watched the whole game. Obviously, being an Eagles fan, I think that I was able to watch every single aspect at a very unbiased rate. And for me, I think the Eagles played very, very solid in that they proven that they can beat an elite team, and they bounced back after losing to the Jets. But Vikings just take it to the house. There we go.
Oh man, listen. Whenever you see that touchdown, absolutely amazing. Addison just took the ball out of the DB's hand. Number 7 had it. He took it out of his hand. He ripped it from him. Oh wow! No, I'm listening, but I was watching that in real time. We were talking. I'm like, wow, that's how you go into the half Vikings. Anyway, I'm listening.
Vikings trying to make a statement, trying to remind them that they're actually still an admirable team, trying to upset the Niners, who are coming off a tough loss.
Field goal. Then they missed the field goal.
They missed the extra point?
And they missed the extra point.
Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me.
Come on, fighting Kirk Cousins.
Eagles Dolphins back and forth. I think that for me, the Eagles played well. They've proven that they can beat a good team after bouncing them back after a bad voice corrector, after a terrible loss against the Jets. I'm gonna be unbiased though. I mean, I'll call bad calls both sides, and some fans that will only take them if they're against the Eagles. But for me, the Eagles got some luck in the referee department the other night. I know it's happens around the league. Everybody goes when they've been saying it all over the place. Oh, that roughing the passer call. It was like, well, no, you can't argue with that call because it's the call that they've been calling for everybody. It's just a matter of disliking that call or not, which I think is a soft call in altogether. I mean, if the guy gets touched, two-hand touch, knocked to the ground, that's roughing the passer. Really, well, that's kind of comical. But the other call, the one call I missed, the missed face mask, was pretty bad, and it would have extended the drive for the Dolphins. And a couple other holding calls I thought were missed in that department. But I mean, I would say that it's I'll take it because it's an Eagles win, but it's still a sign of something. Eagles having 10 penalties for 70 yards. The Dolphins did not get one. But for me, I think that it's good win for the Eagles in that regard. Outside the penalties or not, our offense stepped up. Our defense took care of business, picking off 2 at once, and they're only letting up 10 points on the defensive side because one of the touchdowns was the pick six. So good win for the Eagles, and I think that it's still a turning point for the Dolphins. They lost a tough one. They've lost now to 2 of the top teams, Bills and Dolphins. But I think that's that's all my area in that regard. Texas just went up 6-2.
Okay. Oh, wow. Texas up on the Astros. The Rangers. Wow, okay. Well, looks like Verlander isn't going back. But now Miami, I mean, you covered a lot of Eagles talk and said that AJ Brown, absolutely ridiculous performance. DeAndre Swift had 15 carries, 62 yards. Onto the Miami side of things, Miami had 45 total rushing yards. They only had 244 net yards. When you look at a team, say again, the team that has a high-flying offense, a team that scores 70 points, only getting 244 yards as a team is absolutely horrendous. They was only 4 for 11 on third down, and I mean, Tua was sacked 4 times. So I mean, when you're looking at that, you combine that with the just physicality that the Eagles displayed versus the wannabe finesse that the Dolphins played with. You can see exactly where the football game was won at. The game was won really in between the tackles, in between the numbers. Say again, a lot of great play. Obviously, you guys, I don't know how. They're almost like, that's why you're from Philly, because y'all love stealing draft picks. I don't know how, but y'all got like 7 first rounders on the O-line, on the D-line. So I mean, looking at it from that standpoint, you guys are stacked on the D-line, and obviously, again, it shows week after week after week that you guys have nothing, absolutely no fears. Right, like you guys, it's absolutely ridiculous. So you're looking at it as well. Let's also talk about the fact. Well, I got one more thing on Miami, but I'm gonna get to your Eagles for a second. That brotherly love play. Brotherly shove, brotherly love, brotherly hug, rub-a-dub-dub, whatever it's called. Some people are saying that it's a possibility that play gets banned because of how successful you guys is. Some people are saying that you guys should purposely mess up sometimes so the league won't look at banning it. I honestly don't think it should ever get banned. It's a perfect situation.
Quick message for those people that can just shut the fuck up.
Right, 100%. I just think you shouldn't ban a play. It says ugly football. Somebody can get hurt. Well, that sounds like football. Yeah. However, you guys ran that play 4 times in the game last night, and you converted on all 4 of those times using it, and those drives ended in touchdown. So I mean, hats off to you guys. But my quick point, before we change topics real quick. See, I'm a fair guy. All right, I'm a fair guy. I'm a good guy, a regular guy. But I've been having to hear a lot of this Tua talk. All Tua does is throw touchdowns and win. Oh, he's such a winner. Okay. Do you know that he beat the Chargers, Patriots, Broncos, Giants, and Panthers? You know, right now, all of those teams are picking within the top 10 in this upcoming draft, according to schedule. And those teams are also a combined 8 of 25 this season. So, I mean, maybe it's just me, but it sounds like your boy. And it's obviously a bittersweet moment. I don't want to do this. You think I want to do this? I don't want to do this. Because my Chargers is also mixed in that bunch of teams just there. I don't want to do this. But I will say this. It
Can't
sounds
help
like
it
your
beat
boy,
the sucky Chargers.
I mean, I get there in a second. But your boy's only beating up on mediocre at best teams. So when everybody was having this tour for MVP, I think we need to hype down. Because when he actually played against a really good, well, we question it nowadays, but really good Buffalo team, and obviously a Super Bowl caliber Eagles team, Tua look like, John Kitna or something. So, yeah, I think we need to calm that down. Do you have any saving grace for your guy Tua? What say you about your second home Miami Fighting Tuas?
I'm going to also be fair and honest. I think that it wasn't a great performance on Tua's part. But, I mean, a couple drive stoppers, like, that really killed the day. I know that he was accurate on a bunch of passes. Jalen Waddle going out didn't help. But, for me, I think the couple of drive stoppers, like the fourth down, they went for it. And they got the missed face mask call and stuff like that. And didn't really play into it great. But, I'm not going to make an excuse in that regard. I think, Tua didn't play great. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to see how he does. If this trend continues, then maybe there's some credibility behind it. I still think he's top notch because, yes, he beat trash opponents, but in those games he annihilated them. So it wasn't like they were nail biters like the Bills and the Eagles did. He pummeled them. So, and both those games were on the road, Bills and Eagles. So two tough buildings to play in. And again, they didn't play great. So we'll see how that goes next time they play an actual opponent.
Yeah. Well, hey, hopefully you guys
I'll make a deal. If he plays like that and loses to the Bills in Miami, I will come on the show and say Tua turnover.
All right. Well, that's fine. I'm down with that. Hey, I feel like right now the book's out on you guys. The book is if you get the Dolphins out of Miami, you have them come play in cold Buffalo or cold New England or super duper physical Eagles team, then I feel like, people are going to start to look at it like, okay, that's how you get those guys. Luckily, the playoffs don't got to run through Miami anyway. So if the playoffs are going to run through Miami, then it just looks like you guys are going to, well, your second team is going to be in for a dogfight.
They're definitely going to be in a battle for sure. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, especially that tight AFC division and the AFC conference in general. Members of that division, though, who should also see themselves maybe in a little bit of skeptibility. I don't know if that's a word. If not, we'll add it to the all-out dictionary. And but team that should see a little worried are their foes up north, the Buffalo Bills, who have lost this week to. I legit can't believe I'm about to say this, but they lost to Mac Jones and the Patriots the other day. Final score 29-25. For Bills fans, couldn't have gone worse. They were trailing most of the game. It looked awful, and then the glimmer of hope they had when they took the lead was just counteracted with a game-winning drive led by Mac Jones and the Walmart version of Belichick and Brady Patriots. So, Jay, Bills fans are now always hyped up in the last couple of years since they got Josh Allen for Super Bowl and all that great stuff. They're going to win all the way. Are you still confident that the Bills have the ability to go the distance this year? Or are you thinking them Bills Mafia fans should be worried that this may actually not be a successful season as they thought?
Listen, usually I'm not a proponent of hitting the panic button early, but I do feel like Buffalo should after that game yesterday, they should be still right now tapping that panic button. Because I mean, it doesn't look like Milano. I'm not sure of the status on Milano, the middle linebacker. He's not coming back. The secondary can't play man coverage to save their life. Obviously, with the injury to Tre'Davious White, and I mean that front, obviously anchored by Von Miller, is just an aging front. So I mean, on defense, what looked like an absolutely strong defense, definitely a top tier defense. You lose two key guys. One is your linebacker, one is your star secondary player. That obviously that hinders a lot of what you want to do on defense. I feel like the theme this season, obviously with the Diggs injury in Dallas and the White injury with the Bills, that secondary, for the great defenses, if you get your top secondary guy that injured, your defensive coordinator now has a tall task to fill because you got to scheme up differently than what you once could. But having said that, I mean, Buffalo, one of the things Buffalo got to do, they got to come out, they got to start faster. The Buffalo Bills, also the Patriots for that matter as well, have this thing that they don't like to play football until the second half. I mean, if you look at it, the Buffalo Bills over the past 3 games, they've scored 7, 0, and 3 points in the first half. So, I mean, they're coming out the gates super duper slow. Many people still feel like the Giants were supposed to win that game they played the previous week, week 6, against the Bills when, that very, very blatant PI basically, and I don't even call it PI, but I mean, the guy held, he almost signed Darren Waller's jersey with how close he was to him, like ridiculous. But I mean, Buffalo, they come out too slow, and I do feel like they are very, very heavily reliant on the services of Stephon Diggs. I feel like Josh Allen just tries
hail
too
Stephon.
hard. Right? Yeah, I feel like Josh tries a touch too hard to get the ball to Stephon Diggs. And I mean, I feel like if you're a defense, obviously, with you being a defender or anything like that, you know that. So you shade coverages that way. The New England Patriots got a very, very good young corner over there. I forgot his name, but I mean, again, he's a very good guy. So he was shadowing him a little bit around the field, but not nothing crazy. But I mean, yeah, and also. For any of you guys that are watching our fantasy league, try to sell me on Buffalo has a running back. No, they don't. That was just absolutely horse. You know what? But with that being said, Mac Jones had 272 yards and 2 touchdowns, no turnovers.
It's Jay.
Yeah.
Say no, no cursing anymore.
Yeah. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. But yeah, Mac Jones again, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers in the win. With just 2 incompletions. He had 2 incompletions in the second half with a passer rating of 126, almost 127. This was his 3rd best game of his career. For the quarterback himself, since this is his first 4th quarter comeback win since October 2021. First win of Jones's tenure with the opponent scoring 25 plus. This is his first win ever whenever both teams score over 25 plus. And also, this is the first win in the calendar year over a quarterback not named Zach Wilson or a backup quarterback. So, I mean, this right here, I mean, whenever you look at it, and this could not have happened to a worse team rather than the Bills. I mean, if this was to happen to, let's say, Cincinnati, Cincinnati had a very, very rough start of their season. They're not picking it up. If this was to happen to the Chiefs, I feel like the opposite would happen. We would get the opposite reaction, just like the Chiefs or something, who this happened to, because you'd be like, oh, the Chiefs lost to a team that they weren't supposed to lose to. Yep, they're definitely going to win the Super Bowl now. So I mean, looking at the fact that it's the Bills.
They almost lost to the Jets. It's over.
Right, you're right. Yeah, 100%. The rest of the league can just kiss it goodbye. It's a wrap. But I mean, like I say, looking at it in the fashion that they lost, I mean, the Bills just were sleepwalking almost really through 3 quarters, if you ask me. They tried to, turn on in the 4th, but, they had the answer, but Mac Jones had another answer. And, I mean, he erased their answer and wrote his own with the 4th quarter drive.
He has answers.
Right. crazy, right? But he
It's
definitely
like the
did.
non.
But
It's not like it's like the not very smart kid in class. You're like, oh, I'm not cheating off of that test. That's gonna fail. Then he gets a better score than you.
right, 100%. So like I say, looking at it, I mean, just so to most teams, it would just be a horrible game. And again, it happens. 17 game season plus playoffs for a good bit of teams. So I mean, you're going to have blips on the radar. However, for a team like the Bills, you got to be questioning it's more than a blip, it's a trend. Because when they went over to, I think when they played in London, they played the Jags. It's a bad game. They lost. You come back to the States, you play New York on your home field. You actually lost. I don't care nobody say you actually lost. And then you come to the Patriots, and then you also lose that game. But I mentioned earlier about the Bills offense. Bills basically running the ball, if that's even a thing, if it's not Josh Allen. They average 2.7 yards per carry on 23 attempts. And another thing, I heard this from ESPN this morning, and they're 100% right. Shout out to Dan Orlovsky. Very, very smart guy, by the way. They asked Josh Allen essentially not to be Superman, but you try to you taken away from what he does. Him improvising, making plays out of the pocket, being the aggressive quarterback that he is. I mean, when you stop that from happening, you're almost taking away a part of his game. Kind of like how if you take away a scrambling quarterback's ability to run around, I mean that's a part of his game. So I will say that my last point about it, the Bills they moved to 4-3, but however, the most glaring thing about 4-3 is that they're 1-2 in the division. 1-2, obviously now with losses to the Jets opening night with no Aaron Rodgers, where Aaron Rodgers played for maybe a down or two. When then you lost now to the Patriots, and I mean then you beat the Miami Dolphins in Buffalo. So now your next game against Miami will be in Miami. And we know what Miami represents whenever teams come out there to play them. So if I'm a Bills fan, to answer your question, I'm panicking. This is not what we signed up for. We're supposed to be, especially coming off of how their September went, super duper good September, and then they get to October and now they're just, pissing the bucket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there should be some concern up in Bills Mafia country, for sure. Mac Jones going 25 of 30, 272, and 2 touchdowns. I think that's probably the greatest game he may have played ever. And
ever in his life.
That formidable, he's put up Madden numbers, which doesn't sound like Madden numbers, but for him, it's Madden numbers.
God numbers.
Yeah, he played the Bills on rookie mode for him last night, or 2 days ago. But yeah, I think the Bills should be a little worried. It could be one of those teams where they got the hype, but they just can't close it out. They've had issues of it the last couple of years, but yeah, I mean the 13 seconds and last 2 years for them with 13 seconds and better send those refunds with Joe Burrow and company taking care of business in Buffalo. So for me, if I'm the Bills, I'm getting a little worried. I'm trying to figure out what I can do. I know they've had some injuries on the defensive side, but I would definitely look into what I can do to try to turn this around and make something of the rest of the season. But
I mean, quick point of quick thing you just mentioned before we go. You mentioned that they're essentially just they need answers basically. In that division they have to. It's not like they're in the NFC where you can afford to struggle and you're going to be in it. No question. They're in a division where they're in a not division. They're in a conference where you've seen the Cincinnati Bengals come out to a slow start, but they're picking up and out there in stride. You look at what the Ravens just did with the Detroit Lions. We had high expectations for Detroit, and they just made them look like JV kids. And obviously, you look at the Chiefs. Ever since the Chiefs lost to Week 1, they're on 6 straight. So in this division, and again, obviously, you look at what the Browns did with their third string quarterback to the 49ers. I mean, you look at this conference, the Bills absolutely can afford to play like this because they may find themselves from outside looking in. Miami could very well, all Miami got to do is split with them. Miami split with them, and then it's a toss up. So I mean, in this conference specifically, the AFC, This is not the conference to where you can afford to have these sorts of hiccups, especially for games like this where this is supposed to be, I'm not obviously again, it's not a cakewalk because it's the NFL, but at the very end of the day, whenever you're playing teams that's inferior as far as in the talent department, you're playing a guy who's considered an MVP candidate, and you're playing a receiver who's considered a top 3, top 5 receiver, no question in this league. You got to handle business. So, I really do hope that the Bills can definitely pick this one up. But I mean, if they continuously keep going in the trend right now that they actually are, then they're in for a long, sad, disappointing season.
Or couldn't agree more. I got muted for that part. But I will we definitely will keep track over that, see how it goes. But switching to next topic, we're going to introduce one of our new segments now. Actually, we're going to have a Jay and company. Jay is a very chill, relaxed, normal human being. But when somebody pisses him off and makes him angry, he wants all the smoke. So tonight we are introducing our new topic, who Jay wants the smoke with today. And our subject, our main, should I say, next victim is going to be his own Los Angeles Chargers, who found themselves devastated this weekend against their arch rivals, Kansas City Chiefs, 31-17. So it's going to get smoky in here, so I'm going to need to put on my shades just so I can see clearly. And
Man.
That way Jay can do his thing, and we can dive in to see who Jay wants to smoke with today. And my good guy, you are off.
All right. So, as Glenn mentioned, first ever All the Smoke live on the show, and it would be fitting, right, that my first ever All the Smoke be against my Chargers. So my Chargers went into Arrowhead. I don't know what the actual name of the stadium, but they're still Arrowhead. And when I chest poked out, obviously coming fresh off a loss to the Dallas Cowgirls and company, thinking that we were going to obviously get a win. But that didn't happen. Mahomes and company had other plans. Somehow, some way, their defense. Oh, very quick shout out first to their defense. Their defense, the Kansas City's played absolutely ridiculous. I'll get to them more momentarily. However, Chiefs obviously improved to 6-1. Mahomes is now 5-1 against Herbert. End of the day, I love Herbert, but I will truly say this: as I'm a Charger fan at heart, everybody almost will be getting blamed today, but Herbert. I will explain later. Mahomes in this game. Listen, from a guy that watched the first half of this game, in live, on while it was going on. This might be some of the most saddest news I've ever heard in my life. This man, Patrick Mahomes, got 321 passing yards in the first half. 424 passing yards.
You talk about smoke, that's fire.
That's house on fire. We don't even recognize it no more. But 424 passing yards in the game, 4 touchdowns. He hit a couple of different receivers. I forgot. Obviously, Mecole Hardman. He came back. He made a huge splash play, 50-yard return. Excuse me. But Mahomes becomes the his fifth game with 400 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, tying Drew Brees for the most ever. So and also Herbert threw 259 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. I got smoked with my entire defense. I played a little bit of football, and I will say this. Now, I know for a fact I may end up getting a lot of heat for this, but hear me out, okay? On defense, let's actually try to play defense. Meaning, in the first half, we're giving NFL receivers 8-9 yards off the ball out there in the secondary. What are we thinking about? We're going to give Patrick Mahomes receivers that much of a gap on the start of the play? Are you trying to get Bosa? Are you trying to get Khalil Mack to, what are y'all trying to do exactly? Because all Mahomes is going to do, as he did, pick you guys apart. And then when we try to go man, Derwin James, I'm calling you out. I was a huge fan of yours. Obviously, again, you're on my team, so this is more motivation than anything. But you're playing like absolute dog water, and paid you a good bit of money. I'm not one to count guys' pockets, but at the end of the day, got a nice chunk of change. But I need for you to actually play defense. There's no reason that that we should have you in our secondary and we rank 31st or 32nd in secondary play. It's absolute garbage, absolute dog shit. More than to be an absolute dog shit. Yeah, there you go. More than being absolute
I knew
dog
that would
shit.
get you out of it. I knew that would bring it up.
Yeah, because I mean, I was trying to keep my cool, but truth be told, this is like organized chaos, really.
That's the idea of Jay wants to smoke. It's fire,
right.
it's burn. Bring it. That's what I'm talking about here.
Well, I mean, like I say, when you look at it, I don't know exactly what it is. I obviously know that Travis Kelce is 100% one of the best tight ends ever played football. I'm not questioning that. But could we at least try to guard him? I mean, the first half, we're sitting here trying to play zone. We're playing zone except everywhere where Travis Kelce is. We all know Travis Kelce is trying to get the football in the middle of the field. Why is nobody in the middle of the field? Why do every time I look, we got Patrick Mahomes slinging the ball to the middle of the field? Patrick Mahomes, and again, another thing, shout out to Dan Orlowski because I was watching this morning. Patrick Mahomes is obviously super duper elite at getting to his second, third reads. He'll read his first read quick, and he'll get to a second, third read in a heartbeat, make you think it was almost his first read. But it's plays where Travis Kelce, and I think they do it on design. Travis Kelce is like his third read on design. But he knows he's going to him because the Chargers we just left our defense in San Diego. Not even in Los Angeles. We left it in San Diego. We don't have it no more. We can't guard, like I was mentioning all day to my assistant manager at work. We can't guard Park Carr. We absolutely suck. We played not a lick of defense. 321 passing yards in the first half. And then when you try to play, and I hope that we take this moving forward. We try to play closer, try to play a little bit more, in the receiver spaces. And then again, Patrick Mahomes didn't even throw for 100. Well, he threw for 103 yards in the second half. So maybe we can take this as a sign and say we need to actually get in guys' faces. But I mean, anytime that you hold one of the best quarterbacks ever and one of the best tight ends ever, and you try to play that stinking zone that y'all try to play where none of the middle of the field was covered, you're asking to lose. Once again, Derwin James, you get paid a shit ton of money. I need you to actually be worth that shit ton of money. I need you to actually guard that guy. I don't need to be seeing our other safety or our second, third corner trying to stick Travis Kelce. And when we went man in the first half, the little corner or whatever absolutely got killed. Travis Kelce ran a dig route. Kelce caught the dig route. The DB did the fatal flaw. Everybody knows in DB class. If you're going to dive for a ball, you cannot use your outside hand, because if you use your outside hand and you miss, the receiver catches that and you can't tackle him because you use your outside hand. That's what he did. He didn't go with his inside hand to try to make sure he secured the tackle. He went with his outside hand. Travis Kelce caught the ball and was on to the races. So once again, and then don't even get me started on that Travis Kelce touchdown.
I think you skipped that day in DB school. I think you might skip that day.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't think they even taught that no more. Maybe I'm just too old. I'm only 24, but I guess. But don't even get me started on that Travis Kelce touchdown.
I would say 24 going on 45.
Right. You know what? I would say that Travis Kelce touchdown, he just manhandled the ball on all of my DBs. I would say that's some perfect synopsis of the Chargers versus the Chiefs in the Patrick Mahomes era. No matter how good we are, they just manhandle. Absolutely manhandle. This guy, you got arms, everybody reaching at the ball. Everybody. He's just got the ball in his hand like it's a loaf of bread and reaches it across the pile. They didn't even pop his pimple on his wrist. How bad that they were as far as getting to the football. So, yeah, man.
Did I hear that right?
I have. Yeah, exactly.
Nah, say it again.
They couldn't even pop his pimple.
Pop his pimple on his grits?
No, on his wrist.
On his wrist. I heard I couldn't even pop his pimple on his grits. I'll be like, what grits are you eating?
No, not at all. No, that's kind of weird. But
couldn't pop it. Yeah. Well, I've never heard somebody say pop his pimple, but I guess that works.
Right. Yeah, they couldn't do it. Anyway, yeah. Once again, Herbo played again. Herbo threw 2 picks, but if you're just a stats guy, obviously you say 2 picks. He played horrible. No, Herbo just got the snot beat out of him as far as in the pocket, and also I don't think people understand exactly when you're playing behind one of the. Your defense has the worst secondary. Everybody have career days when they play us. Everybody. Dak Prescott looked like Joe Montana. Patrick Mahomes looked like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we just again we literally and people think I'm joking when I say we could not guard a parked car. I promise you, we could not guard a parked car. A 2003 Nissan Altima sitting in the lot, we couldn't guard it. That's how bad it was. 200,000 miles, and we still couldn't be able to guard it. Like, so I genuinely feel
so you mean Julio Jones?
I mean, listen, no, that's low. Julio Jones, that's your guy now. You're talking about Julio Jones. I picked him up in fantasy like an idiot. But yeah,
That's
like
not
I
your
mean,
call.
yeah, that's horrible. But like I said, once again, it's like, bro, I genuinely feel if you're a quarterback and you got to play with that sort of defense, particularly your secondary, I'm not getting on Khalil. I'm not getting on Bosa. Those guys, again, those are self-made men. They will definitely, they've been playing football long enough. They will get it together. But Derwin James, you've been looking too much like a glorified linebacker these past couple of years, and I'm sick of it. I need you to actually cover somebody. This right here, Chiefs Chargers should be a marquee matchup between Derwin James and Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce should not be owning us the way that we do, or the way that he does when we have a guy like Derwin James on the field. He's faster than linebackers, and he's supposed to be more physical than most safeties. So that right there should be the component of guarding Travis Kelce. And he is nowhere to be found. Last year, I'm talking about when the Chiefs went to they came to LA. Absolutely dominated. I think we had an episode. I forgot which episode number it was, and I was livid. I'm talking about absolutely enraged
It was the
because
4
every
touchdown
time I
game.
look, right, Travis, 4 touchdowns. Like this, like you cannot be serious. Like, anyways, but
It's like
yeah, like I
watching a
said, once again,
volcano build slowly.
right. It's just,
I
but
see
see,
it.
I'm watching
It's
it.
about to snap. Like,
Right.
maybe this will do it. Does it bother you at all that Travis Kelce, their number 1 star wide receiver by like 75 yards, your thing is always lock down their big guy. Does that bother you that he got 12 receptions, 179 yards, and a touchdown?
179. Who the hell is he? Tyreek Hill? 179 yards. 179. It's almost like this is a strip. It's almost like this is supposed to happen. It's almost like you put what's his girlfriend Taylor Swift in this. You put her in the press box, and this guy just play. This like more motivation for him. I mean, just think about that. I need you to look at me in the camera and tell me Travis Kelce caught 12 balls for 179 yards. I need you to look at me with a straight face and tell me that.
No problem. I got you. Ready? Okay. Travis Kelce, the guy that you said they always have to lock down, big guy, number 87, plays for the Chiefs. Yeah, he got not 80 yards to 100. He didn't even get 125. No, he got 179. Like, let me write that out. That's a big number right there. Let me do the math on that one too. Make sure I get the right one. There we go. 179. Do you want to hear something even better too?
I mean, to wrap it all up, I'm not blaming Herbert a lick. My defense has to actually play like a star-studded defense that we are. We need secondary players. We need corners. We need safeties. We need help. That's really about it.
Help.
I will. Right. I will say this. I got the answer, but I'm gonna wait until our next game that we lose, and I'll go ahead and display my answer. But yeah, we need, like I said, we need stuff. Oh, Herbert, I will say that he's now missed two throws that I've seen like live while it was going on. 2 throws to Keenan Allen, overthrows. He gotta drop it. He gotta drop it past the touch. I don't know if he's overthinking it. I don't know if it's the thumb, the off thumb that's bothering him, but he got those got to be completions. Whenever and Herbert, I need you to understand something. Whenever you're playing with a defense that bad, your margin for error absolutely diminishes to the closest thing to zero possible. We can't have mistakes. All right, we can't have it. That's not allowed. Sorry, it's not in our repertoire.
Oh no, it's definitely in your repertoire. Mistakes is definitely in the Chargers' repertoire, but it can't be. It shouldn't be if you want to win.
We got to remove. Yeah. We got to remove those mistakes, Herb. Listen, don't even mind the fact that Mike Williams is softer than baby. You know what? He stay hurt. Don't even worry about it. All right.
Like whenever you say "you know what," I normally know what the "you know what" is, but he's softer than baby.
Yeah, baby stuff. Let's put it like that. He's very, very
who the hell
soft
says baby?
Baby stuff. I think I'm gonna use.
Could have said he's softer than a box of Kleenex.
Yeah, I mean he's sponsored by Charmin, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Charmin, yeah, that'd be a close person.
So yeah. Anyways, yeah.
I like our first
no, wait, pause. To wrap all of this up, this is it. I promise this is it.
I'm gonna do an over under how many times you say wrap stuff up.
This is it. Listen, Staley needs to get fired. Yeah, Staley needs to get fired. I'm sick of it. He's it's like ever since he got called out for being a super aggressive coach, he turned into a little you know what. So
bitch.
He needs to go. There you go. He needs to go. His services are no longer needed. Sean Payton's an idiot. Sean Payton should have waited a year.
You would consider him on your chopping block?
Oh man. Oh man. Speaking of chopping block, I'm glad you said that. Right in the nick of time, we got Glenn. I had obviously Jay's All the Smoke, but even better than that, talking about Glenn's chopping block. So on this version of the chopping block, the very first version of the chopping block, we had a little bit of college football Saturday. Oh man, yeah, we had Glenn's Glenn's team here, Penn State versus Ohio State. Glenn, take it away on this occasion. Ooh, man. Glenn means business today, fellas.
I am ready. On today's episode, our first ever pilot of Glenn's Chopping Block, I would like to feature the one and only James Franklin. Now, most people know James Franklin as Penn State's coach, arms locked with the players, walking out the tunnel, all that fun stuff. I just know him as a losing coach, but that's just me. I am sick and tired, though, as a Penn State fan who just got his 2 new jerseys in. Nice, excited game. Let's go, team. I had to watch Penn State lose yet another game to a ranked top 10 opponent, which, of course, again, was Ohio State. Being a Penn State fan for the last 5 years now, because I haven't been a little bit longer than that. I just switched when I moved down here because I never followed college football until I moved down to the South, and it's everywhere and everything, so I decided to pick a team, and I went with Penn State. Have not ever watched Penn State beat Ohio State in that 5 years. And if I was watching for 10 years, I would have only seen them beat them once, since we are 1-9 in those last 10 meetings with the Ohio State Buckeyes. And to make matters worse, we are also 1-13 against Ohio State and Michigan, another arch rival, when they are ranked in the top 10. All those numbers flat out suck. And quite frankly, the number that makes it even worse, believe it or not, is that James Franklin is 3-16 against top 10 opponents. I don't know what to say to that. I don't know how. If you have such a high quality team who was ranked 7 at the time and came out of the year ranked very, very high, like they always seem to do, I don't know how you go 3-16 and at a minimum keep your job. But if it's me, I'm calling for the firing, putting on the chopping block for sure. The biggest thing why today is just because I was watching an offense look so stagnant and awful. Now, I'm not giving him 100% of the blame, but I will give it to some other players, as in Drew Aller, who looked awful, quite frankly. 18 of 42, only 191 yards, and got a late touchdown that meant nothing. But I don't know how, in the biggest game of the year, you muster up one offensive touchdown. Like, I don't know how it happened. I really don't get it whatsoever. I think that it is crazy and insane, and that I really am disappointed in Penn State this year again. Was excited to go up to a game, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore because of the fact that I don't want to go up all that way and watch another loss. But for me, I would say that the biggest issue is coaching and the fact that they had Drew Allar throw 42 times and only ran the ball 18. Kind of bad, I would say. When you have such a potent run was working, that you continue to throw for 42 times and nothing. You get a gift play and on the muff punt that went off the guy's foot, and you pick it up at the 50, and you can't even get a field goal out of it. Just everything about it is incredibly frustrating, and that is why James Franklin is now on my chopping block.
Yes, sir. Fire. Yes, sir. That's a great introduction to the chopping block. I will say that even though you gave a quarterback some heat, he obviously does deserve it. But I will say, I mean, the kid was absolutely running for his life every single chance. Miami, Ohio State is known for its offense. However, they have now amassed a defense. That defensive front was terrorizing that kid all day. He's probably dreaming about that. What nightmares, obviously, about that defense. And obviously, on the other side of the ball for Ohio State, Marvin Harrison Jr. is an absolute stud of a player. Any team out here in the NFL, I think you guys should model what Ohio State does. I'm talking about the Raiders, definitely. Whenever you have a star wide receiver, you get him the football. I don't see no other reason. I know we're not talking about this game at all, but when the Raiders played the Packers, obviously Devontae Adams over the stomping grounds. I think he may only have gotten 5 targets or something crazy like that. So, anyways, but yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. actually, made big plays, but Penn State to me looked outclassed. If you would have told me that you guys were undefeated before that or something like that, undefeated y'all lost
in the 7th ranked team. Undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated. Yeah, number 7, undefeated. If you guys would tell me that you guys were undefeated going into that game, and no matter of fact, if you tell me after the game that was an undefeated team who Ohio State just beat, and I'd be like, what, undefeated in what, high school, college, like not college for sure. Like they looked stagnant, and I mean, the game itself showed it. I think they were really like 0 for 13 on third down. That is insane. They got 1 4th down, 1 3rd down, like towards the end of the game. It doesn't count.
Anything they got late doesn't matter. Ohio State wasn't.
Yeah, it doesn't count. It really doesn't count. But whenever it counted, it was like 0 for 14, 0 for 13, something like that. 3rd down. Just imagine how critical that is. Just imagine if they did not get a first down on 1st or 2nd, they was essentially screwed. They only had 2 downs to work with. So I mean, again, you're playing the defense like that stout. They keep guys in the secondary. They keep receivers. Obviously, they keep a decent back. And I mean, they got quarterbacks by a ton. So I mean, it really doesn't. You can't afford to do that. And I mean, even with that being said, the Penn State defense obviously has been the one carrying this team so far because they played a solid game. It wasn't like Ohio State dropped 40, 70. You know what I'm saying? They had a pretty good game. If the offense would have just reciprocated some of that energy that the defense was giving them, it would have been a game. Because it wasn't like Ohio was looking all, high and mighty. They just did and I feel like it was very good for their program. They did what they needed to do to win. And Penn State, to me, honestly, did not come to play at all.
No. I mean, just think that, it's just, and for me, it all goes back to coaching. I don't care who you're playing, what's going on. If you're anything admirable of a coach and team, you have something to go 3 of 13 in the biggest game of the year on 3rd down. 3 of 13, by the way, sucks on 3rd down, for the record. It blows. If you told anybody they went 3 for 13 on 3rd down, 9 times out of 10 they lost the game. But the fact that you go 0 for 13, I just want them to keep playing 0 for 13, 0 for 13. They got the great 1-0 mentality, I know, but now they're 0-1. But the fact that happened is just, I put it on coaches. It's so bad that I can't put it on the players. Because a good
100%.
coach, then yeah. Because I mean the defense ball. I know Marvin Harrison had a day against Penn State, but they did what they were supposed to. They limited them, and they got and speaking of which, Ohio State got such a BS call. They get the fumble and then they change it. Oh, holding. Can't let that one go. But I for the whole time in the first half, I'm like, oh, such a BS call. Same thing happening, and then at the end of the game, I'm like, well, it's not on that. Our coach just sucks.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's pathetic if you ask me.
Yeah, no. I will say this to wrap that up. Anytime you get a loss like that, like I say again, not just watch. I look at the box score and I see no. Watching that game, anytime that happens, coaches got out coached, they got out schemed, they got out strategized, and they also did not have the guns to have a shootout with Ohio State. Their players were not good enough in every asset. Kind of like when the Broncos lost to the Miami 70-20. Everybody lost. Coaches, staffing, players, hell, the ball boy, the janitor, everybody lost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what the Ohio State-Penn State game looked like. And I feel like it's only talked about much right now because of how hyped it was. Penn State was number 7, undefeated. And, if you expecting the two undefeated teams clash this, midway through the season like this, you're expecting an absolute, show. You're expecting fireworks. You're expecting great plays. You're expecting hard hits, interceptions, touchdowns, hard-earned third down conversions. That was not that at all, to say the least.
And you didn't even turn the ball over. That's the crazy part. You didn't turn the ball over when it mattered, and you lost the game. You won the turnover battle and lost the game. That's how pathetic it was. Mm-hmm. But, I'm done. I'm done with James Franklin. I'm done with the whole thing. I know they signed him to a big contract, but screw it. Pay another guy half for all I care. I mean, Jesus, I take Sean Clifford at coach right now over him. I know he can win big games, but I can't do James Franklin. I can't. It's just not. He doesn't. He just looks like every big game he just gets out-coached every single time. You could be playing St. Mary's University, and as long as they have a 6 or a single-digit number in front of their name, then whoops, we're done.
Right. Yeah.
Pathetic loss, and like I said, chopping block for a reason. He's gone if it's up to me. Yeah, I think that wraps us up as far as topics go tonight, right?
Yes, sir. No,
I'm gonna come up with something real quick if you don't mind. Test your trivia knowledge. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Word. Okay, cool. Now you're a big football guy, of course, and I think that it shows that you probably know football better than almost anybody. But for me, I'm gonna go and just test your knowledge in trivia department. So I give you 5 questions, and if you beat me, and then if you get 3 out of 5, you win, and if you don't get 3 out of 5, you lose. Deal?
No. Mm-hmm.
All right. First question. Who is the all-time leader in receiving yards?
Jerry Rice.
Ding. Correct. Who is the all-time leader in rushing yards?
Is it Barry?
No, not Barry Sanders. Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt
Smith. Where is the NFL Hall of Fame?
Canton, Ohio.
Fuck, I was going to get that one. Who was selected first in the 2020 NFL Draft?
Trevor Lawrence.
Final answer? Wrong. Joe Burrow.
Joey
B. Joey B.
2-2?
2-2. What was the name of the Steelers defense in the 1970s?
Steel curtain.
Alrighty. Win. Jay Sean Wilson takes the W. 3-2 in a nail biter. That's fun. Next show we're going to be doing hockey, so get about 5 questions for me, and I'll try to get some redemption.
Right. Trust me. Even while I was answering the questions, I was like, hockey's coming up next.
Word. Sounds good. All right. Well, yeah. I think that about wraps us up. Jay, you got anything to close out?
Great show, of course. Obviously, again, if you want to get in the show with us, Just make sure that you like and send us a DM to our Instagram DM, and like our post that we post that day of to get on the show that night.
Yes, sir. Stay tuned for that. And Jay, you have a great rest of your night, my guy. I'll see you soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Same to you.
Later.